Trump is on his hero's journey right now. And he might not have expected to have a crazy motherfucker like Kanye West run up and support. But best believe, we are going to make America great.
All right, well, that was, of course, rapper and fashion mogul Kanye West during his meeting with President Trump yesterday in the Oval Office.
They met to discuss prison reform, but Kanye also covered several other topics.
Yeah, I'd say he did.
Yeah.
That's where I want to welcome in our good friend, political commentator, and Newsmax insider, the man himself, Clarence McKee. How are you, my friend?
Hey, good to have you with us.
Clarence, of course, has also held several positions in the Reagan campaigns and administrations. Always great to see you.
Always good to be here.
I kind of liked Kanye in the Oval Office.
I like him anywhere.
It was a good infusion of pop culture.
Exactly.
It drove the media insane. It drove liberals even more insane. All upside to me. What do you say?
Perfect. You know, they loved him when he said Bush was a bad guy.
Right.
Remember that? Yeah. Now they're all upset. I thought he was great. We need more of that. All the people criticizing him are part, the blacks particularly, are part of what I call the black overseers crew. You know what an overseer was?
I do.
They made sure the slaves stayed intact.
Yep.
That's what Don Lemon is, all those people. They don't want any blacks to stray off the plantation. Now, I didn't hear him, Lemon, complaining about Mr. Jay-Z going to see Mr. Obama, right?
No.
Or going to Hillary's concert.
No, when Obama had rappers with ankle bracelets because they were arrested of felonies.
Exactly.
Let's talk about Don Lemon for a second. So if you haven't been watching what Don Lemon's been doing, Clarence has, Kanye West's, Don Lemon claimed that Kanye West's visit to the White House, and I found this highly insulting, was a, quote, minstrel show. Minstrel show. Listen to this.
I actually feel bad for him. What I saw was a minstrel show today. Him in front of all of these white people, mostly white people, embarrassing himself and embarrassing Americans, but mostly African Americans, because every one of them is sitting either at home or with their phones watching this, cringing. I couldn't even watch it. I had to turn the television off because it was so hard to watch. Him sitting there being used by the President of the United States, the President of the United States exploiting him, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, exploiting someone who needs help, who needs to back away from the cameras, who needs to get off stage, who needs to deal with his issues.
All right, now for those who are unsure, unaware of what Don Lemon meant with his minstrel show reference, a minstrel show was a form of entertainment during the early 1900s. It usually was made up of mostly white actors who would wear exaggerated blackface makeup, like you see in that image there, to mock African Americans. Now, I don't think that's at all what was happening. And what I found very ironic about that Don Lemon clip, Clarence, is he's saying, well, Kanye West doesn't speak for all African Americans. Then he goes on to say, Don Lemon, but every African American was sitting at home embarrassed. So Don Lemon apparently does speak for every African American, doesn't he? Or at least in his own mind.
Turning off the tubes, that's why people are turning off Don Lemon on CNN. Here's the point, though. These guys are a disgrace. He's the disgrace. They protect the white Democratic establishment. That's their goal. Any black at all who strays off, they want to clobber him. And what he said about his mother, that was disgusting.
That's exactly where I was going to go with that. They attacked him.
Yeah.
You know, the word that they used, first of all, the N-word, which isn't the worst N-word, but it's still an N-word.
Negro?
Yes, thank you. I feel like I am not allowed to say that, but certainly Don Lemon has no problem saying it. Neither does Bakari, who's also on his show, Bakari Sellers. And then they also used the W word in description of a woman of ill repute. The WH word. Those words are apparently okay. The word mob, though. The word mob.
The M word, Gina, you went too far.
I did. I just went too far.
The M word, Gina.
I might lose my job today.
The M word.
You are not allowed to say that word, apparently, on Don Lemon's network. And yet, it's okay to attack this man, this black American man's mother who is dead, his mental stability on national television. I mean, how is this not absolutely as racist? Why is no one out there, Clarence, declaring Don Lemon an Uncle Tom like I see people like you declared every single day?
Isn't this the playbook? When they couldn't beat Trump on the merits, all of a sudden he was nuts.
Exactly.
He was mentally unstable.
Right.
They're
This
doing
is their-
exactly the same thing to Kanye.
Someone should write a book about that.
And then you get another one, right?
Yeah.
They always want to talk about, oh, we have to look into mental illness every time there's some event. You know?
Yes.
And these are the first people who attack and criticize so-called mental illness. You notice that Lemon in the crowd didn't talk about the issues he brought up: jobs, prison,
Right.
trade.
Right.
They didn't get into those.
To your and Gina's
because
points,
they never do.
To your and Gina's points, I agree with both of you. Going after Kanye West's mom, who he was very close to, who died suddenly. I believe it was surgical complications, right? That, to me, there are things that should be off limits.
Right.
There's nothing off limits to those folks.
Should be off limits.
Trying
and
to
they're
hit him
getting
where it
a
hurts him the
pass.
most. There's no question about that. I mean,
Yeah.
they are looking for ways to intimidate him into silence. Isn't that exactly why we fought for freedom in the first place?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, we have Bill O'Reilly doing his segments with us, and he wrote a book, Killing the SS.
Yes, can't wait to get that.
They're following the playbook
Exactly.
of brutal regimes, brutal military units, or oppressive societies like the SS. I don't even want to say Nazis because you sound like the left when they talk about conservatives. But man, it sure looks like they're pulling plays from those playbooks, doesn't it?
The whole thing was a disgusting, distasteful treatment of what's supposed to be free speech in the United States.
Yeah.
Oh, golly, it's okay for old Jay-Z to run around,
Yeah.
but don't let somebody come in who talks about the president.
Not allowed to have
Forget
freedom
about
of
prison
thought.
reform, right?
Yep.
It's really astonishing what they're doing. I think that the American public, though, sees right through this. Clarence, don't go away.
Exactly. They'll-
Because we want to have a little more of you when we come back right after the break. Coming up after the break, the RNC slamming Democrats and leftists as an unhinged mob.
There's that M word again.
Play
yeah.
that new ad. Apparently, they are not afraid of the left calling them, I don't know.
Gina
what are you,
can't give
bigot
up
if you
that
use the
M word.
mob? Exactly. We'll be back in a moment with more. Stay where you are.
When they go low, we kick.
Someone call the car.
And if you see anybody in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be. You cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about.
Get up and please get up in the face of some Congress people.
Is this the quote unquote mob?
Wow.
And you just watched that new ad released by the Republican National Committee. They're calling the left a quote unquote unhinged mob. And I have to tell you, we analyzed quite a bit here on the show, but that ad to me speaks for itself.
You know,
It
it's
does. Clarence
about-
McKee,
no,
welcome
no.
back to the show, first of all.
Good to be here, thank you. It's about time that Republicans started fighting back, kicking back.
Yeah.
Usually we lay down, take all this criticism, and don't do anything. They should run that ad in every single contested congressional district.
I agree.
Twice, 3 times, 4 times a day.
You know,
Okay, this is
Gina's
what you're going to get.
Gina's faced attacks, more attacks than she should have in the last 4 months.
Really?
From the unhinged left that we saw.
Well, I wrote a book that said the president was sane, and you're not allowed to do that. Now, if I'd written the same book, for example, the one that Woodward wrote, saying the president is insane despite the fact that he has no psychological background, no advanced degrees as far as I know, and doesn't know the president or his family, but he declared the president mentally insane.
Exactly.
And this is the tack they're going to take, Clarence.
book.
We're already seeing it. We saw it with Kavanaugh. We've seen it with Kanye.
But look what you faced, Gina. They went after your son, who
Yes.
has special needs.
Right.
They went after your academic credentials.
Right.
They tried to get you fired from this network.
Yep.
They tried to get you fired from the other work you do, your speaking engagements. They tried to get your publishers to not publish your books anymore. And they literally
They got
went
my
after.
ratings knocked completely down on Amazon,
Yeah.
and then Amazon pulled the right of anyone to even rate me on Amazon, so left me at a low rating for my
I mean, they
book.
literally went for the money you used to help feed your family.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They are going after livelihoods. There is no
Ooh,
depth
I better stop
where they
writing my
will
book then.
stop. Yeah,
But it was despicable. And Gina's hardly an incendiary figure. She's proactive and she's out there and we're on the show and she does her other work on the advisory board for the president's reelect. But you do what you do on air. You're not out in anybody's face. You're never,
No.
I mean, one of the nicest people I've ever met. And they went after her livelihood. These people, they are unhinged.
Oh, and they doxed me, and I'm now getting threatening letters.
Real
at my
threats
home.
and things like that, yeah.
You know, I haven't seen many of these protesting mobsters in right-to-carry states.
No, it's true.
I'm telling you, if somebody comes up to the right person in a right-to-carry state like Florida and some other places,
it's inevitable.
They're going to get a face full of 350.
It's inevitable. I fear. And
well,
for
I think what is scary
real quick for the viewers, I just want to explain what you meant by doxing. It's when Gina or someone else's private information is publicly released. Oftentimes that could be illegal.
Social security number, birthday,
vehicle license
home
plates.
address,
Yes.
which I registered to vote even anonymously because I've always had problems like this. I'm a small female. The only thing that equalizes me is my pistol, right? Otherwise, I'm smaller than pretty much anyone I'm going to encounter.
It's a sad day.
And now they know where I live.
It's a sad with
like
children.
Mrs. Paul,
With my children, and I've had letters saying we know where your children get on the bus, which is
you know, I had these unhinged maniacs actually send me photos of myself walking my dog, my dog's basically saying we know where you live, we know which house is yours, we know what time you do what you do. These people, they are nuts. They are an unhinged mob.
This is an unhinged mob.
And look what happened to Senator Rand Paul with the neighbor. But there's more going on with Senator Rand Paul because now Senator Rand Paul and his fellow Republicans are asking Democrat Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, you saw Booker in that ad, to retract his statements that he made back in July. Now, Booker, back in July, and again, you saw it in the RNC's ad, encouraged citizens to, quote, get up in the face of some congresspeople. Here's what Senator Rand Paul had to say.
We've heard indirectly from him that he didn't intend to incite violence, and I take him at his word on that. I don't think his intention is to call people to be violent, but getting up in someone's face really kind of does sound like you want them to get you know, nose to nose with them. And the problem is rational people might back down, but what's going to happen when the guy comes with a gun to a rally or comes with a knife to a rally? There is going to be an assassination if this doesn't ratchet down, and I think the other side needs to really calm the rhetoric down.
Yeah, now to what we were just speaking about, Senator Paul's wife now says she sleeps with a loaded gun.
That's right.
She's also written a letter to Senator Booker, an open letter she released asking him to retract what he said. Cory Booker doesn't seem to be very interested in civility. Now, Clarence, you have an article out on this right now.
Yes, this week.
You have an article in Newsmax.com entitled, How Long Before Senator Rand Paul's Fears Are Realized? In the minute or two we have left,
Tell us about it.
Listen, back in January, or June I said in Newsmax, somebody's going to get killed. And then you've noticed on TV, not many people would go that far. So I was so happy when Rand Paul said, if this keeps up, someone's going to get assassinated or going to be killed. And he said, it's got to be ratcheted down. But as I say in the article, I haven't heard any Democrats come out and say that what happened to Senator Collins saying rape apologist is bad. None of them are apologizing for it. And I wouldn't be surprised. They keep talking about violence coming. That violence may just come from the right side.
See, I don't think
so either. Isn't
I don't
that
think
funny?
so.
I feel like I trust our side. I watched us when we were so frustrated with the left during the whole Tea Party thing, and the right was so respectful, so clean. So I don't think it's going to come there. I think that the inciting of violence, I fear, is going to come from the left, and I'm afraid the attack is going to be on someone.
See, I agree with Gina on that one. All right, stay where you are. Excuse me. We're going to have more with Clarence right after this short break. We're going to be talking about gun control advocate Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, let's just call it a little bit of Hollywood Halloween hypocrisy. Stick with us.